Liberal MP Shaun Chen announced his resignation, citing health issues from a late 2025 car accident that prevented him from traveling to Ottawa as often as required. Yet, WeChat posts show Chen traveled to China in March 2026, appearing with CCP Central Propaganda Department broadcasters, and again in late July, just 2 weeks before his announcement. So if Chen was well enough to travel to China and meet with CCP-linked figures, why was he unable to travel to Ottawa to carry out the job his constituents elected him to do? Help us get the answers that you, as Canadian voters, deserve. That is whereischen.com. Scarlett Grace for Rebel News. Liberal MP Shaun Chen has announced he's resigning from the House of Commons effective August 15th, 2026. The Scarborough North MP, first elected in 2015, says a car accident in late fall 2025 left him with significant health issues that prevent him from traveling to Ottawa as often as the job requires. Parliamentary records show he spoke in the House only once in the past year. Prime Minister Mark Carney quickly thanked him for his service and wished him a swift recovery. That's the official story.
I think the biggest security threat to Canada is China.
Now here's what independent researcher and commentator Andy Lee has documented through WeChat posts, videos, and public records. In March 2026, while supposedly struggling with travel-limiting injuries from an accident months earlier, Shaun Chen was in China. Videos show him eating noodles with broadcasters tied to the Chinese Communist Party's Central Propaganda Department. There are influencer-style clips of him featured on CCP-linked accounts, including one associated with Guangdong Hakka content. One post even has a handler noting how far Chen went out of his way to get there. These appearances took place well after the accident that, according to his resignation statement, made regular trips to Ottawa too difficult. Then, just 2 weeks before his resignation announcement, around late July 2026, WeChat posts showed Chen again in Guangdong. He appears as part of what the posts call official business delegation, visiting Guangzhou Yunmo Port with Markham Regional Councillor Joe Lee. Chen looks fine in the images, and yet Canada did not have a publicly announced official parliamentary or government delegation in China at that time. Who organized it? Who paid? Who did he meet beyond the photo ops? So the same MP who could not manage the flights and schedules required to represent his constituents in Ottawa was able to travel all the way to China twice. So the same MP who could not manage the flights and schedules required to represent his constituents in Ottawa was able to travel all the way to China twice for meetings and media appearances involving CCP propaganda apparatus and local Chinese partners. Health issues that stop you from serving Canadians in the capital somehow allow international travel for networking with the regime that Canadian intelligence has repeatedly flagged for foreign interference.
The Chinese Communist Party is hard at work inside the gates here, right where we're sitting today. I'll bet, can't see very much out there, but I will bet you that there are Chinese Communist Party affiliated people in this room today. And by the way, they look like me, like they're white Italian dudes, right? But they're working for this mission set. And they're not spies in the quintessential sense. They're in our university systems. In the United States, there is not a single university in the United States that isn't deeply tied to Chinese money. Chinese students, in our country, they pay full student tuition, and then they come give money to our labs so that they can, steal our stuff. They are inside the gates in ways that I think we have we've been very naive about this risk and what that means to us.
New evidence posted by Andy Lee shows Canadian MP Shaun Chen cast an electronic vote on Surveillance Bill C9 on March 23, 2026. The same day, WeChat videos place him in Guangdong, China. Standing Order 4512 governs the rules and procedures for electronic voting in the House of Commons. It outlines how members of Parliament may cast recorded votes remotely or via digital applications, and establishes strict security and verification parameters, which requires electronic votes to be made from within Canada with visual identity confirmation. There is, of course, a broader pattern of Liberal MPs and China-related controversies that have dogged the party for years. The allegations surrounding Han Dong, CSIS warnings about Chinese interference in his 2019 Liberal nomination, claims of students being bussed in under consulate pressure, and later reports suggesting he discussed the two Michaels' detention with Chinese diplomats. Dong denied wrongdoing, left the Liberal caucus, and the full picture remains contested. The 2024 NSICOP report went further, stating that some parliamentarians were semi-witting or witting participants in foreign states' interference efforts, particularly China's, accepting benefits, providing information, or leveraging networks in ways that raised serious national security concerns. The report criticized the Liberal government's slow response dating back years. Multiple inquiries and leaks have detailed Beijing's preference for certain Liberal candidates and its use of United Front tactics, diaspora networks, and proxies to influence nominations and outcomes in ridings with large Chinese-Canadian populations. When an MP's ability to show up for Parliament is compromised enough to force resignation, yet he can still make it to Guangdong for photo ops and business discussions with CCP-aligned figures, the public has every right to demand answers. If the injuries were severe enough to end a parliamentary career, why did China remain accessible? The questions aren't going away just because the seat is about to be vacant.
I believe the progress that we have made in the partnership sets us up well for the new world order.
Let's kick CCP influence out of our government and their surveillance outposts out of the GTA. If you believe our government must kick these bureaus out of Canada, head to kickthemout.ca and sign our petition. That's kickthemout.ca. If you want to see these questions answered, want to see Chen investigated, please check out the new campaign and add your name. Help us get the answers that you as Canadian voters deserve. That is whereischen.com.